all set?
I think so.
So just so I understand now, is Connolly now off the roll call? Is he?
No, he's still on the roll
Last
call
meeting.
because in ETSB, you stay seated until you're replaced.
And so is Noonan and Connolly, or is Noonan off the roll call?
Noonan's off,
Okay, Noonan's off, but Connolly is still on the roll call.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Nina doesn't have a replacement yet.
Well, as a matter of fact, he does.
All right, you want to cover that for the,
Sure.
Under
I'm gonna
my
actually
remarks,
have like a
maybe?
live version, I think, at 9:30.
well, I'll let you just explain the players here a little bit.
Okay.
All right, we're ready to go? Sure. All right. Good morning. I'd like to call the DuPage County Emergency Telephone System Board meeting to order. It's a little after 9. I'm going to read this comment real quickly. I'm Mark Franz, the vice chair of this committee. On June 13th, 2020, Governor Pritzker signed legislation related to meetings held pursuant to the Open Meetings Act. The law permits public bodies to meet remotely where the following conditions are met. All votes must be conducted by roll call, so we'll be following that today. Does that suffice? Opening comments? Is that okay? Okay, great. So roll call, please.
Franz.
Here.
Andalcio.
Here.
Biladu.
Here.
Connolly.
Here.
Here.
Moranowitz.
Here.
Renahan.
Here.
Shar.
Here.
Hepmeyer.
Here.
Teams.
Here.
And Tillman.
Here.
Great, thank you. We have a quorum. Any public comment?
There's no public comment.
Excellent. Chairman's remarks. I don't have any remarks, but I was going to ask Linda just to do a little who's who. I know we're in a little bit of a transition as a board. I want to make sure everyone knows who's participating today.
Good morning. So yesterday at the county board meeting, the committee assignments were approved, and as part of that, county board member Greg Schwarzy was selected for chair of ETSB because we didn't know this was going to happen. So, and in your process, even though the county board makes that selection, there's still an appointment process, an actual resolution that has to happen. So he will be ready to go as chair for the January meeting. Along with that, member Renahan's appointment will be done at that time, and member Eckhoff, as long as we're covering county board, has 1 more year to go. So all of that is
You got a life appointment. You're a judge.
so up in December. So that's what will happen. Chairman Schwarzy, and we met yesterday after the county board meeting, went over a few things, and he had a conflict but was hoping to be here at 9:30 today. So he may either come in as Zoom depending on his status or actually into the building.
Excellent. Thanks very much. Next on the agenda is member remarks. Any member remarks this morning?
I have one, Vice Chairman.
Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just wondering if Linda had planned on at any point in this meeting addressing ETSB's position on the CAT outage from December 1st and how she feels about what was done to avoid it happening again moving forward.
Yes, we plan to cover that in DuPage in item 8, which is the 911 system design, and Hexagon will be available. Are they in the waiting room? Yes. Okay, so they're in the waiting room when we get to that point for presentation. They did this yesterday at the MRS committee meeting, and they'll go over that, and then then you'll have additional discussion.
Perfect, thank you.
Sorry, I should have mentioned that when this.
Any other member remarks at this point? All right, let's get into the consent agenda. These agenda items A through E are on the consent agenda this morning. I'm supposed to read these kind of summary. Correct.
I think you can do a motion to combine.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to combine items A, B, C, and D on the consent agenda.
And
I'll second that. Biladu.
E as well. All right. Can we get a roll? We have to get a roll call of that first, please.
Hepmeyer.
Aye.
Teams.
Yes.
Tillman.
Aye.
Franz.
Yes.
Andalcio.
Aye.
Biladu.
Yes.
Connolly.
Yes.
Aye.
Morano.
Yes.
Brennahan,
Aye.
and Shar.
Aye.
All right. Those are approved, or we just,
No.
okay, no, that's a motion to consolidate.
I'll approve.
Want to read these real briefly? Let me just do it real quick. The consent agenda items include monthly staff report, revenue report, 911 surcharge funds, minutes approved by the Policy Advisory Committee, minutes approved by ETS Board, and the 2021 meeting calendar. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Whitmire,
Aye.
Teams,
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Andalcio,
Aye.
Ledoux,
Yes.
Conley,
Aye.
Peckoff,
Aye.
Morano.
Yes.
Brennahan.
Aye.
And Shar.
Aye.
All right, next agenda item 7A1, ETS R-0002-21 budget transfer for Emergency Telephone System Board of DuPage County for fiscal year 2021 from 4,000-5820-53828 contingencies to Fund 4,000-5820-53130 public liability insurance budget transfer of $8,780. Any comments or questions? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Whitmire.
Roll call, please.
Andalcio,
Aye.
Ledoux,
Yes.
Conley,
Aye.
Peckoff,
Aye.
Morano.
Yes.
Brennahan. Brennahan,
You frozen?
Think she froze.
Shar,
Aye.
Whitmire.
Aye.
Teams,
Aye.
Tillman,
Aye.
Green, Brennahan,
Yeah.
We'll move forward. Item 7A2, ETS R-0003-21 budget transfer for ETSB Board of DuPage County for fiscal year 21 from Fund 4,000-20-54199 capital to Fund 4,000-5820-54110 equipment and machinery for the replacement damaged radios. Budget transfer of $117,460. Any questions or comments? Can I have a motion, please?
So moved, Conley.
Second, Teams.
Roll call, please.
Conley,
Aye.
Peckoff, Morano,
Yes.
Brennahan, Shar,
Yes.
Whitmire,
Yes.
Teams,
Yes.
Tillman,
Aye.
Green,
Yes.
Andalcio,
Yes.
Ledoux.
Yes.
All right. Next item is 7B1, 20-21-3, payment of claims for December 9th for fiscal year 20, total amount of $765,510.05. Any questions or comments? Oh, what'd I do?
I think we have a note here.
Oh, sorry.
You want me to just discuss it?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay, so in your payment of claims, we have a payment for $116,375.18. We believe that amount is going to change. The work was done, but then in discussion with the vendor, there may be some exchanges. So we would request the board pull this item off the bills list, which would make the final payment of claims $649,134.87.
Move to approve as amended. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Peckoff,
Aye.
Morano,
Yes.
Brennahan, Shar,
Yes.
Whitmire.
Aye.
Teams,
Yes.
Tillman,
Yes.
Franz,
Yes.
Andalcio,
Yes.
Ledoux,
Yes.
and Conley.
All right, the motion passes. Next agenda item is change order C1 ETS-CO-0001-21, resolution approving change order number 1 to Priority Dispatch to incorporate revised contract pages into PO 920110/4330-1. It's a non-monetary change order. Can I have a motion, please?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Playhouse. Baranowitz.
Yes.
Granahan. Shar.
Yes.
Whitmire.
Yes.
Teams.
Yes.
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 Adalcio.
Yes.
Leonard.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item D1, ETS-R-0004-21, awarding resolution to Missouri Insurance Services, Inc. PO 921009 for a 1-year liability damage cybersecurity insurance policy for me. The total amount is $82,280. We have a few representatives from Missouri here today for discussion if there's any questions. Want to proceed? You want to go back? There she is. I'll wait for Julie. Welcome back, Julie.
Internet issues.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question if you have a second.
Sure, go ahead, Chief.
I think it's good that we're moving more towards cyber liability coverage and the things that Mesro recommended. I guess my question for Linda or Mesro is, are the limits and the coverages recommended based on some form of risk assessment they did, or is it just sort of standard cyber coverage they're recommending? Do we know how our coverage matches up to our risk is basically the question.
I believe the Mesro folks are on, if they want to jump in for how they made that assessment.
Kathy or Josh?
Hi, Kathy Jurisic-Easley from Mesro Insurance Services. We came up with a number of options by because the board hasn't purchased this coverage in the past. We started with just sort of basic limits that we would provide and gave a couple of options. And this is where we see kind of an introductory level of coverage, but also we've done some benchmarking and understanding this is a new coverage, tried to be mindful of budget parameters as well.
So I appreciate the answer. It sounds like, it's sort of benchmark, maybe a standard or, reasonable, but it's not necessarily based on analysis that says, oh, should this happen, our cyber liability risk is 10 million versus 1 million or anything like that, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So Linda, I know that's one things are on your agenda for cybersecurity and all that, but I'd encourage the board to think about that in the future of, how does this coverage match up with our actual risk or potential risk? But I'll leave it at that. I'm in favor of the proposed coverage.
Thanks, Chief, for that comment. Linda, if my memory serves, we are hoping next year to do some type of assessment kind of associated with that comment.
We're already actively doing certain things. We're on the CISA list for Homeland Security, and then we're working on a scope of work for additional. So yes.
Okay, great. So we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Any motion and second? Okay, how about we ask
I
for
will
a
make
motion?
the motion.
Thank you.
Liability and cybersecurity insurance policies.
Whitmire, motion, Eckhoff, second. Roll call, please.
Whitmire.
Aye.
Teams.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Adalcio.
Aye.
Two.
Yes.
Conley.
Aye.
Baranowitz.
Aye.
Granahan.
Aye.
And Shar.
Thank you. That motion passes. Item D2, ETS-R-0005-21, awarding resolution to Trianton CCC LLC, PO 921010 for a 1-year renewal of Unitred's server support in the amount of $5,379.70. I have a motion.
Second.
A motion and second. Any questions or comments?
Just a quick one. This is an ongoing renewal. The director has signing power up to 5,000 under the ETSB. So this exceeded that limit. This is why it would be the first time you're seeing it. But it's been renewed for many years.
Sounds good. Hearing nothing further, roll call, please.
Echo.
Aye.
Morano.
Yes.
Renahan.
Aye.
Star.
Yes.
Whitmire.
Yes.
Teams.
Yes.
Aye.
Chance.
Yes.
Indalcio.
Yes.
Goodue.
Yes.
Connolly.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion is approved. Item D3, ETS-R-0006-21, awarding resolution approving purchase order 921-006 with Insight Public Sector of the final renewal of invitation to bid number 17-204-B5 for mobile laptops for the CAD system, non-monetary. Motion, please.
Miller.
And any questions or comments?
On this is part of the DuPage Justice Information System, which is Hexagon and all of those integrated services. The ETS board agreed to do this type of bid so that agencies that are participating might get a cheaper rate for mobile laptops. This is the last year of that. The reason it says not monetary is ETSB itself doesn't have any intent to purchase anything. It's just the renewal to allow others to.
We know whether agencies took advantage of this opportunity.
Not really. But I'm fulfilling my obligation.
I just meant for the work that's on staff going forward, it wasn't utilized.
Right. I don't know that there's an intent to do this again, or we may revisit it when we come to the upgrade. But our understanding is that there's not a lot of change in the requirements for the mobile units if we go to the new platform.
Any other comments? We have a motion and second. Roll call, please.
Goodue.
Aye.
Connolly.
Aye.
Echo.
Aye.
Morano.
Yes.
Renahan.
Aye.
Star.
Yes.
Whitmire.
Yes.
Teams.
Yes.
Aye.
Hands.
Yes.
And Indalcio.
Yes.
All right, thank you. That motion is approved. D4, ETS-R-0007-21, affirming awarding resolution to Motorola Solutions, Inc., PO 920154, for the emergency procurement of replacement fire radios and accessories due to hazmat incidents, totaling $123,896. Got a motion, please?
So moved. Conley?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
You're taking us.
I took Indalcio.
Okay.
You do what you gotta do. I do have a quick question, and I'm sorry, I asked this and it probably was answered, I just didn't see the response, but these types of incidents, do they get picked up by their insurance? And this is just, we purchase, we get reimbursed, or how does that work?
So in this particular instance, the hazmat was in Bensonville. Bensonville has an ordinance that says the spiller or the responsible party pays. So rather than make this through an insurance claim, we're doing this with the anticipation of it being reimbursed by the company that caused the spill. We've already submitted that to Bensonville Fire Protection District that's collecting all of the costs associated with this with the agencies that participated. We did, however, notify our insurance company that there may be a claim. So if we run into a problem where there's an issue, it won't be an out-of-pocket expense. And in that case, our liability, we'll work through that, and our liability is the deductible, which at that time was $500. Yes. Yeah. So around $6,000.
Okay. All right.
So it's sticky.
Right.
Something new and exciting.
We got a motion and a second. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Conley.
Aye.
Echo.
Aye.
Morano.
Yes.
Renahan.
Aye.
Star.
Aye.
Whitmire.
Aye.
Teams.
Yes.
Aye.
Hands.
Yes.
Indalcio.
Yes.
Goodue.
Yes.
Can I take these two resolutions together, or do we do them separately?
3 and 4.
E1, 2, 3.
One, two.
Yeah. Stuff.
Okay, never mind. I'm trying. E1,
Almost there.
ETS-R-0072-20, resolution to adopt the talk group access agreement between the Emergency Telephone System Board and Tricom Central Dispatch. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved, Tegmeyer.
Second,
Second.
Teams.
All right, any questions or comments?
I got a question, Mr. Chairman.
Chief?
I'm just curious, between this one and two with both Tricom and Quadcom, what kind of impact is that going to have on the system? Is it going to be negligible, or are we concerned about that? And we always talk about that when we have like the schools wanting access and things of that nature. Just kind of curious what the potential impact is going to be.
In the case of item 1, the Tricom, that's us signing their agreement to have access to their system. So,
Okay, I read that wrong. My apologies.
no, that's okay. And which is why the documentation is different. And on the second one, this is, what do you mean, wait till I get to the second one? Or
No, go ahead.
We can wait for the second one. That's fine.
either way, it's their total complement is 212 radios or 35 at a time. And they're only asking for access 1 through 8, which means we'd have to patch them in when they need to come over. So it's much more limited.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? We have a motion and a second, a roll call on E1, please.
Tegmeyer.
Aye.
Teams.
Aye.
Aye.
Friends.
Yes.
Adolfo.
Yes.
Bill, yes, sorry.
Conley.
Aye.
Eckhart.
Aye.
Baranowitz.
Yes.
Houlihan.
Aye.
And Shar.
Yes.
All right, the motion's approved. Item E2, ETS-R-E001-21, resolution to adopt the talk booth access agreement between the Emergency Telephone System Board and Quadcom 911. Motion, please.
Fill it in.
Second, Conley.
Okay, that's good. We've got a motion and a second. Any questions other than what was already asked? All right, roll call, please.
Philidou.
Yes.
Conley.
Aye.
Eckhart. Baranowitz.
Yes.
Houlihan.
Aye.
Shar.
Yes.
Tegmeyer.
Aye.
Teams.
Yes.
Houlihan.
Aye.
Franz.
Yes.
And Adolfo.
Yes.
All right, item E3, I know we've got a few changes here. Let me read it first, and then we'll do a little summary. Item ETS-R-0015-21, resolution, second amendment to the interdepartmental agreement between the DuPage Public Safety Communications, DuPage, and the County of DuPage on behalf of the Emergency System Board for the DuPage Emergency Dispatch Interoperable Radio System, DETRIS, total amount not to exceed $150,000 annually, new contract amount of $1,413,459.35. So can I get a motion first?
Motion, Shar.
Second, Conley.
All right, Linda, you want to give a little bit of an update here first?
Sure. I sent out what I had, then there was more. So, so let's run through them quickly. On the resolution, there was. The six, yeah, go ahead, where it totally scooted away here. Right on top. Apologies. Thank you. Oh, yours is staple. Okay.
Fancy
Okay.
technology.
Sorry, six whereas we're changing attachment A to C. That's it for the resolution. On attachment C, which becomes the next part, so your IGA has attachment A, B, and now C. On the first page, I don't show anything. On the second page, some additional comments in terms of typographical errors. Number 5B, letter I, all service and the letter S for tickets. Under 5B3, striking ETSB owned radios, so it's not authorized without service tickets. And in C of that same section, changing the word defines with an S to defined with a D. There was a comment, Member Conley, do you want to address that now? We thought you were saying in your notes, separate just for batteries and mics, but
Yeah, it was, sorry, Linda, I think it was the same question you and I talked about the other day, and that is, we understand if the service provider takes in a radio and does service and alignment, even if it's just because of a battery or an antenna. But I still believe there'll be cases where somebody just, has a bad battery or an antenna. And I guess my question was, is that still an hour of time and $100 to hand somebody a battery? I'm not opposed to any of it. I just thought it ought to be clear. So I mean, I don't need to change the agreement. I think that's something you sort of be clear with Ducom as the service provider.
I think if the radio comes with the battery, then it's gonna be the radio 1 hour. Just gotta make sure there's nothing besides the battery that's wrong. If it's just a battery, then it's covered under the administrative fee. I think that's what Lynn and I have discussed in our redo of this.
All right.
Brian, I think that's a perfect solution. Thank you.
I just have a comment.
Oh, do you want to give it now, or do you want me to finish all the or on this section?
Not on this section, just overall on the IGA. If you want me to wait, I can.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on 1 second, Linda can finish these up quickly.
Okay. And on that same page, last paragraph, clarifying the question was 1 year auto. So the point being, this is a 1 year agreement with a auto renew for another year, so it's only an annual fee one time. Does that answer your question, Member Conley?
Yes, the way I read this is that if Ducom does it for 1 year, they get paid the $50,000 flat fee in January of 2021, and if it was extended another year, they would get the flat fee again in 2022. Correct?
It says an invoice at that point. So
Invoice, yeah. Sorry, but for the November of this year till end of 2021, it's a one-time $50,000 fee. Correct? Flat fee. I'm sorry, was that a yes, Linda? I'm sorry.
I just had to do the math.
The answer, Chief, is yes.
Thank you. That's the only clarification I was looking for. Appreciate it.
Okay,
Any other, Linda?
page 3 got nothing.
Yeah, no, we do.
Oh, we do?
Page 3, last sentence, paragraph 9A is 10.
Oh, there we go. I'm sorry. So item 10 on A, last sentence, we're changing paragraph 9 to paragraph 10. And the next page.
Hey, Linda, real quick, just a small thing I just saw on that page 2 there, the very last sentence about the invoice. At least on mine, it looks like it's 50,00. I like $50 better, but I'm sure that Director Tetmeyer would probably prefer that extra zero be put in that paragraph.
Yes, so the annual fee would be corrected to 50,000. That should have been in the changes we sent. I just didn't
Okay.
put it here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So under section 11, there was a random E, so we're taking that out because we didn't have anything to add. On page 5, second paragraph or first full paragraph, DuPage ETSB hereby agrees. In the last sentence or the last portion where it says actions arising as a result of an actual infringement on this consulting agreement, period. Striking the rest because it's random language. And then as you see, some of this then adjusts the numbers. So 14 was 15 and all of those are corrected. Under section 18.
On the recommendation to add owned after not.
What section are you in here?
Page 6, 18, first sentence.
It's not ETS radios owned.
On non-ETSB owned radios.
Okay,
Got it.
so on the language here, in section 18, which is the scope of work, which the first sentence says all work performed should be tied to an asset paying a service ticket. This includes work performed on non-ETSB radios that will be part of heaters. Recommendation for clarification is to insert owned to be consistent with how it's stated throughout the agreement. Okay. Then I think
That's it?
That I know.
Okay, okay, thank you.
And then there's, open for discussion.
We'll go to member teams. You had a couple questions?
I just have a comment. I support the IGA because I understand the heavy lift that it would be for ETSB staff if this was moved to a different vendor, and that's just not good timing right now. But that's the only reason that I support this. I'd be in opposition otherwise. That's all.
Mr. Chairman, if I can make a comment?
Sure. Steve?
I supported going out to RFP, but I do congratulate Linda and Brian for working out what I think is at least a good short-term solution over the next year or two. And then certainly as we get into new radios and get a new radio manager, this could be reevaluated by the board at that time. But I agree with the member teams that this is certainly a very good solution. And I think most importantly, which was my major concern, is I think it's a more business-like arrangement than what we had before, where it was a pretty large flat fee that Ducom obtained, whether they did a little bit of work or they did a lot of work, which could have been fair or unfair, either way. So I think this does put us on better footing. I think it's a bit of an arm's length relationship, and I think it's a fair deal, and hopefully Brian and Ducom feel the same way. But I think it's a good solution for right now, and I support it.
Other questions or comments? I guess I've got a comment too. I think I agree. I support this temporary solution. I think long-term though, I want to make sure that we're getting feedback directly from the chief, but both fire chiefs and police chiefs in terms of how we want to manage this going forward. When this was first brought up, I had concerns about introducing another vendor and another process, and we didn't have any complaints about how they were being maintained that I was aware of. So I think sometimes we can be over-focused on price, and we want to make sure the service is provided, because there's nothing more critical than the operation of the radio. So glad we got this temporary solution. We have a lot to think about if we're going to change gears, in my opinion. So with that, any other questions or comments? Do we have a motion?
So the first motion I'd like to make would be to make the amendments to the agreement as detailed and walked through.
Everyone hear that motion to support the amendments expressed by the executive director?
Miranda, let's make.
Want a second?
Right now, we have a motion on the floor for Shar, just on the resolution.
We need a motion to amend to incorporate the changes referenced by director.
Do we have to do anything with this one that's hanging here?
This is a motion to amend, like, under the general.
Oh, that's what I mean.
Pat Meyer, you have a second on that?
We have a second on the amended agreement and resolution.
I'll second it if you're looking for it.
I am.
That was a motion to amend the resolution as.
Yes. All right. Any other questions or comments? Thanks for your patience, everyone. How about a roll call?
Pat Meyer.
Aye.
James.
Yes.
Aye.
Sands.
Yes.
Indalcio.
Yes.
Hindu.
Yes.
Conley.
Aye.
Aye.
Moranowitz.
Yes.
Granahan.
Aye.
And Shar.
Yes.
All right, we're going to interrupt the agenda for a quick second. We have the next chair of this committee who just joined us. I can put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. Thank you. First of all, apologies for being late. I just found out yesterday around 3 o'clock that there was a meeting here this morning at 9. I had a prior engagement earlier this morning. So my name is Greg Schwarzy, obviously new county board member as of a couple days ago. This was a committee that I was interested in due to the fact that I'm a 27-year career firefighter. I've also spent 14 years as a Carroll Spring Village trustee, and now I'm in this position. My real goal here is first goal is to get up to speed with what's going on, and I will reach out to all of you over the next few weeks just to hear your thoughts on things. And My only other real goal right now is just to keep things as smooth as possible. Obviously, I'm a user of the inoperable radios on a regular basis. Fortunately, I'm not a user of the 911 service as of yet, but it's good to be on this committee and do what we can for our residents and our firefighters and our police officers. So I'm going to be leaning on Mark a lot and Linda a lot. So okay. More Linda than Mark, according to Mark. But please reach out to me if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, I'll be reaching out to you sometime in the next few weeks, like I said. So thank you very much.
Great. Welcome.
Linda, do you have the quiz of all the acronyms?
You'll probably do better as a fire person.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe.
All right, we'll move ahead to agenda item number 8.
Actually, no, you still need the final one.
I thought we did that together.
So you did a motion to amend, now you need a motion to approve as amended.
All right, my
All right.
apologies.
I would.
Does Char's motion still stand with the amendment, or does he have to make it like keep
I make a new
a new motion?
All right, can we have a motion to
approve as amended.
approve as amended?
So move Conley, second, whatever.
Moved by Eckhoff, seconded by Conley. Is there chairs in the amendment?
Yes, roll call please.
Eckhoff.
Aye.
Moranowitz.
Yes.
Renahan.
Aye.
Char.
Yes.
Petmeyer.
Yes.
Keynes.
Aye.
Yes, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Franz.
Yeah.
Indalcio.
Yes.
Billy.
Yes.
And Conley.
Aye.
Thank you. Sorry for my mistake there. Now item 8 on the agenda, and I think there's going to be a little summary of the outage we had earlier this month. We're gonna add 2 members from
We're going to add a
Hexagon's
few
team.
people. Tammy Heaton, who is the has basic oversight. She's the vice president. Bill Campbell, who is the regional North American president. Chad, who is the I don't know what his exact title is, but hardware over that hardware division, and who else? And Don Carlson, county IT, and also oversight of the RMS side of things. And Dave George.
Great.
I think that's it.
Welcome, everybody. Linda, do you want to set this up or turn it over to somebody else?
I think I'm just, you had a basic overview in your monthly report, and yesterday at the TMRS committee meeting, this same group of people provided an overview. So I'm going to turn it over to Tammy Heaton from Hexagon to lay out the information, and then
All right. Good morning. Thank you, Linda, for that introduction, and thanks for having us on the meeting. As Linda said, I'm joined by Bill Campbell, our Senior Vice President, as well as Chad Sanders, our Technical Manager. So on November the 30th, I had a conversation with DuPage regarding some follow-up work from an assessment in February that Hexagon had done. In that assessment, we realized the need to make some changes to your VM environment. So specifically, there was a need to add some additional server storage to your environment. And in doing that, we passed the task on to Chad Sanders and our technical group with permission to do that as part of your maintenance agreement. Typically, that scope would have been done under a time and materials contract, but we made the decision to begin that work as part of your maintenance agreement. Full disclosure, in doing that, we did not communicate with DuPage our plan for starting the work, when we would start it, how we would start it. We simply passed the baton to the group that would be executing the work, and they started doing the work. So that was our first point of failure, was just a lack of communication with the DuPage IT team that we were starting the work to make this change to your storage environment. Shortly after starting the work on December 1st, we did encounter some issues that did cause a system outage. It was a Not a long outage, but there was an outage that occurred. We moved to your DR and your backup site. We did have some issues with the interface application coming over. We kept the team engaged. We were engaged with DuPage's IT team. And I'll describe it really as this perfect storm of issues that happened, which continued to just create additional issues. And I've got Chad Sanders, who can talk more on the technical aspect of what happened. Hexagon takes complete ownership of the lack of communication and really the lack of planning that we presented to DuPage that ultimately is what caused the frustration over the outage. So for that, I personally, as Vice President of Account Management and Customer Support, took complete ownership. We have since communicated a written plan to DuPage IT for the work that would be going forward. We have agreement on the steps as well as what we would do to communicate when we were accessing DuPage's system. So I'll pause just a moment. I don't know the audience well enough to know if we want to dive in more technical. Again, I've got Chad Sanders, who I can ask to come off mute, but maybe I'll ask the chairman, would you like us to dive into more technical in terms of what the occurrence, what happened on December 1st?
Not necessarily. I guess I looked through the other numbers to see this information. That covers the question. Specific questions, I guess I should ask. One of the questions that came up at the RMS meeting yesterday was how are we going to make sure this doesn't happen again? I think the group was satisfied with some workflow changes that are going to prevent this from happening in the future. So I appreciate that response. But other questions? How long was the outage again? A couple hours. How long was the outage in total?
Yeah, Chad, why don't you come off? I think you've got the documented times of outage. Chad, why don't you come off mute and address that?
Hey, good morning, everyone. I have showing is starting at around 9 a.m. Central Time. And then, hang on, pull my document back up. I've lost my screens. I'm only on my one laptop screen this morning. And then it was a rolling outage till around 10:30. I don't know, Miss Linda's sitting there and we were going over that yesterday, and she might have something different, but when we had the failure and once we started running the commands to bring everything back online, we started, again, a hard outage, and then it was a rolling outage as things were coming back online during that time frame.
My question, being somebody who knows nothing about the technical support, but it's the same thing that we were talking about earlier in the year, is I'm assuming this outage puts people at risk, right? People calling into the system.
Not calling into the system because this was CAD and RMS related. So the ability to dial 911 was not affected.
Okay. So what was the risk?
I think you want to speak to a PSAP point of view at this point.
Well, from our PSAP point of view, the impact we had is we started having CAD workstations lagging, so our ability to enter the information in the CAD to be dispatched, and I think it was properly described as rolling. So individual workstations were lagging, slow speed, unable to process calls, and then we did get to a point where the interface to the fire station alerting system went down, and we also had issues with our recommendations. So as far as which engines or trucks to send to a fire, which police units to send. Now, staff's trained to overcome those. Staffs on both PSAPs are trained for CAD down situations. I think we were sort of, I don't want to speak for Dolores, but DUCOM did not fully initiate our CAD down procedures because the tool was there. We were just having problems. But we did have to do things outside of the normal dispatching. I think we probably utilized some of our CAD down like recommendations of who to what, which we have paper recommendations and the CAD is not there. So it impacted our delivery, but not the receipt of the call.
I mean, when we had the problems earlier in the year, we had a little meeting, and my comment was, I don't know what's broken or how to fix it, but fix it. And so I'm assuming now it's because it puts the public at risk and it puts the county and everybody else at risk. So my big thing
as a layperson, it was just, we gotta make sure it doesn't happen again. And so I'm glad we're hearing that protocols are put in to make sure it doesn't happen again. But unfortunately, it seems like, from last year to this one, something happened again. So.
Oh, yeah. Dolores, do you want to just comment on the other PSAP? Sorry, let's hear from both.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't hear everything that Member Tegmeyer was saying. I think same thing. The system was sluggish. We had to go to our backups, which is, procedures that we have on paper recommends. I think the positive is that our staffs are used to doing this if they need to. The citizen didn't know the difference, I don't believe. It was definitely annoying, and we don't want that to happen again, but we adapted and we overcame.
Thank you. Yeah, no one is certainly saying that this is acceptable, so that's why we're here today. Go ahead, Member Julie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Dolores, for addressing, the public-facing side of it. Did we have any complaints in terms of slowness of delivery? And when you say it impacts delivery, maybe Brian, what does that mean? Is that 10 minutes? Is that a half an hour?
No, I think it's just, yeah, I would agree with Member Haynes that, I don't think anyone in the public would know. It may have just, I think it's seconds. It may have taken seconds longer for us to process something if there wasn't a recommend in the computer working, then we go to those resources. Those resources are there. Those resources have been updated recently, and so yeah, I think it's just it probably was not. I have received no complaints from citizen side, public side. I think it was probably transparent to the public, but it did impact internally how we process the calls and how we move through it. So, but yeah, we're prepared for that, as Dolores said.
Thank you. I know you're professionals, and I know Dolores has told me we know how to use paper too. Thanks.
Well, and I think it's important too that part of the standardization rules we follow, one of the questions we ask is, can it be duplicated in a manual environment so that we don't get so complex in what we do that if there or when there's a failure, even if it's a system maintenance where we have to take something offline, the dispatchers can't function because they haven't practiced or it's too complex in a manual situation. The other thing I would want to mention is on the software side of this, RMS, CAD, and those things, there's daily contact and work being done. This was a hardware issue, and fortunately, we don't have to do a lot of hardware issues. So that's when Tammy Heaton talks about the process, I want you to understand that this is, work starting without us knowing about it is not, hasn't happened before. And this is a group that doesn't normally work with us. And I appreciate their zealousness in a decision November 30th and starting December 1st. And I think we've ironed out the workflow from that point of view.
Other questions or comments?
Yeah, this is Bill Campbell. Thanks, Linda, for that overview, and Tammy and Chad. Any outage, any delay is unacceptable on our behalf. We understand that. We take that responsibility. Linda just kind of reviewed it really well. Most of the updates we do, 95% of them are related to software. I really liked my team's sense of urgency to address the issue from a hardware standpoint at DuPage, but we did not follow the proper protocol and go through Tammy to address the issue like we do 90 to 95% of the other time. Those protocols have been put in place, and it will not happen again.
Other questions or comments from any board members? All right, maybe just update under this.
I just have one question. Member Shar, did that sufficiently answer your point from the beginning of the meeting?
Yes, it did. Thank you. That answered everything that I'm being asked, and I can get back to the people that have been contacting me. So I appreciate everybody's diligence at the day this occurred and getting me the information I need so I can go out and let the other chiefs know what happened.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Thanks, Chief. And thanks to the dispatch operators for the update as well from an operational standpoint. Anything else under agenda item 8?
I don't have anything other than what's in the monthly report.
All right,
Unless there's questions.
we'll shift to old business. Any old business? Any new business?
Under new business, it gave the board a memo regarding cost of living. And it's got a really nice title here, compensation structure and wage adjustment guidelines. That's how the county identifies it. The reason I'm bringing this to you is in your budget, which you approved for FY21, there was no cost of living for staff because the county was not going that way. We are county employees and the previous boards have followed suit. So I'm bringing this to you for discussion and partially because if you choose not to do this, I need to let Human Resources know sooner than later because it's a massive payroll system and I don't want us to be lumped in. Keeping out after the fact becomes more complex with payroll. So there's that discussion point. And obviously, I think I speak for all staff when we say we would appreciate it. Cost of living is set to start in June, which is a half payroll impact of approximately $7,000.
So what, let me just clarify, what's the rest of the county doing? They're doing a cost of living effective in June?
Yes.
Got it. All right, I look to comments or questions from any board members.
I don't know why we could do anything different than that.
I certainly look to the county board members to lead this discussion. So, all right, any other thoughts? I think we've got the general support then to move forward in June. First to come.
Okay, so then we'll be preparing paperwork for the board for final approval. I just wanted a direction. So thank you very much. And thank you on behalf of staff.
Great. Any other new business? Do we need executive session? No executive session needed. Any other comments for the good of the order? If not, a motion to adjourn.
Oh, vote.
Second.
Yeah, roll call or voice vote works.
I think.
I'm leaving in here.
I'm sorry, yes or no?
Without objection.
Okay. We stand adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone.